Okay, Pop here again. Last episode we put a clutch in this thing, which seems to be working very well. And heavy spring kit. This time, I don't even see in camera very well, but this thing's kind of a burgundy colored. I really like the color. What I don't like, however, is these saddlebags have nasty runs in them. Somebody painted right over all of this, right over the handles. Terrible job. And this is some cheapo Amazon trunk that I do not like. So I'm gonna take all of that off and get this down to what I think will be cleaner and more original. And it has these that just, I have big feet, they get in the way, they're just kind of stupid and they rattle, and it isn't very often I have a passenger anyway, so let's clean this thing up and make it look more presentable. These are factory style saddlebags, and the key even works in here, that you turn the key and the little latch comes up, and then the bag that itself also has kind of like a seatbelt button right here that you push in and they come right off. But also, just the way they work I don't really like. So it opens like that, and they're rusty and they collect water. But you almost have to take them off and put them on the ground to put your stuff in them. Because if you try and put stuff in it like that, they just flop open, and I think I'm gonna like it better like this. These are a relocation bracket, but they are factory taillights. Factory taillights belong, or turn signals rather, they belong up here. And then this becomes a helmet holder. So, and this janky bracket, it shouldn't be there. There should be a grab handle here. So we're gonna, janky wiring. I don't know. I think that's gonna be a better look. We're gonna get her cleaned up. It rained last night, and apparently the trunk also leaks because my registration's wet. It's just got some hokey jank wiring. It's not big enough to put a helmet in. It really is just a thin piece of junk plastic. Luckily, I do still have factory foot pegs that I can put on down here. So we'll start by getting this stupid trunk off. So I want to trace down this janky wiring. So first thing is old Honda, very carefully and always only straight out. I pull these covers to get to the seat bolts. I'm gonna pull all the seats off, everything off the back of this to figure out this wiring mess. As I was saying about these being able to break very easily, there's only one factory that's still there out of both of these. Well, no, there's two. But yeah, if people aren't careful, they get broke off. So I'll pull the seat off of here and figure out how to get that one off. I'm not really sure. Yeah. Just probably can't see that. I hate those kind of connectors. What a terrible idea. Maybe it's just these bolts that hold that seat. We'll grab some Allens and try it out. Okay, according to the University of YouTube, if you open these, this is supposed to come up. So you got to get them to click all the way to right there. And the whole thing comes up. So, the more you know, huh? So, with that open, sorry. Apparently these all just plug to that. And there's this whole wad of crap that I'm not sure what someone was thinking when they did it, but all of that goes into here. These would be tail light. Apparently that's an extra brake light. So I should be able to chase these by color back into factory harness and delete and repair the mess that someone has made. I hope. So here's my thought. Orange goes to blue, red goes to yellow. Oh, that wire is even pinched right there. But if I just whack them all off right here, I can remove the trunk and I can follow this hokey little diagram that came in here and delete all this crap. But I should be able to know, which one's a stoplight, which one's tail light, turn signal, what the hell ever, according to the colors. Let's see. Okay, 2 bolts. That thing came off. And I can get rid of this janky hardware. I think it's going to clean up nice. I gotta go help the wife. I'll be back in a minute. You won't even notice. Okay, from looking at the pictures in this old book, it appears the taillights mount way out here, back in there. So they should mount either right here or right here after I get them off of right there. Not really sure how they work, but they have a Phillips screw on top. So I'm guessing that if I take that out, and okay, not sure how that's supposed to work. Apparently there was supposed to be some kind of bracket right there if it was the regular model and not the GL model. So I may have to make something work over here because all of this comes off. Okay, so apparently, according to eBay, this little tab right here, I don't know if that's even possible to see. Kinda. If I cut them little tabs off and weld a bolt onto them, then they can go in this hole. And if I decide to go back to this, I can always just weld them back on here, or I can buy this whole thing off of eBay. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these off, right flush, weld a bolt to them, so that I can put them right there. I would make new ones, but I don't have a metric tap in that thread size. So let's take all of this off, cut these off, make new mounts. Get rid of this ugliness. There we go. And these will end up mounting back, probably right there. I think that'll work pretty good. That's what the picture looks like. So I'll just make that actually has the same shape, little flat thingy, so that's where they're going. All right, so I just cut the factory weld. So I can always weld it back on someday. So I probably never will because I don't like that look and I'm the only one that rides the bike, so. I actually plan on making just a regular metal rack back here that I can strap something on, not a container. But these, no, where are we? Don't fit in that hole, but yet they need to be square so the turn signal don't flop around in the wind. So I'll grind this all up. I'll weld a bolt in there, and then I'll probably build up weld on each side and then grind it square so it fits in that socket. This should be really fun to build. Okay, here's my thought. This has to be 1 13/16. Won't go in there. This will go in there. I have random nuts and bolts laying around. But if I weld the two of those together, then I can grind this to fit that hole. Should not spin. The fact that this is bigger won't let it go too far in. That's my plan. Weld these together, grind that off. I think it's going to work. Okay, this is probably going to be really hard to see, but I got a bevel on that and a bevel on that in every direction, and I got to hold that and do delicate welding with a not so delicate welder. Yeah, hopefully I get this right. Okay. Take the grinder to that, and it should work, in theory. Okay, so welded that up. Turned out my square part was a little longer than I wanted it to be, but by jamming a washer on there, voila, that has my depth at the right. That's gonna work. Little washer nut on the back side. We'll paint these up. I'll build another one. Okay. Here's my little brackets on the paint drying rack. And when those dry out, we'll put them on there. Okay, while the paint's drying, these here you can't really see, but I'll show you when I pull it out. They're just have a cotter key and a washer and a little pin. Now we can put our yeah, and then okay, and get the holder line up. There we go. It's a little inward pressure on this rubber to make that work. Yeah, the tiny little cotter pin for an old man that needs glasses. Maybe this will help. There we go. I know, don't you reuse cotter pins, but see how shiny it is? It'll be fine. Tuck that out of the way. There we go. Factory pegs. But I'm going to go ahead and take that off and take this bracket off that looks hokey. So that would be, I don't know, about a 15. And a 12. Ish, maybe. 10. Okay. There we go. Well, that's not working. A little bit of... There we go. Exhaust is tight, pegs tight. Cleaner. Although I think I'll take that back off and put this bolt in this hole so I don't have exposed threads. I like that a lot better. Actual factory instead of this hokey that somebody else did. I'm impatient. The paint's not dry, but the paint really doesn't matter except for rust. About the only thing that's gonna help with. How come those wrenches always go the opposite direction you want them to? Okay, in the notch. And there we go. Like I said, the paint isn't really going to matter because it's just going to get covered up. Fish these wires now that we got the other junk pulled out of there. That goes in there. Come on. I'm cross-threading that. Well, it's kind of a tight fit against the rubber. Let me pull that back out and fix the cross. Okay. Upon further inspection, the hole goes all the way through, so rather than trying to fight down from there, I can just put this screw in from the bottom side and not be bound against this, making it difficult. And there we go. Taillights. Then we get this wires, a little grommet right here. Factory hole. All that untangled and fished back up. Back through here. Back in this little hole down. And plug them all back in and put the seat back on. And we get all those wires tucked back in their little baggie the way they belong. Get this. Came from here. Back in. Latch back down. Stick this one in. Put the bolts back in there and put the covers back on. I guess I probably didn't teach anything, but all of this crap, including those hokey pegs, no longer on there. And I think it looks a lot better, a lot cleaner, closer to stock. I put these pegs on, a lot nicer than them little black ones. Got factory pegs back here. All the lights where they belong. No more Amazon junk trunk. One step closer. Getting prettier and running better all the time. So, guess that's about enough for this one. Pop J's shop. Thanks for watching.